So in the previous video, we saw how we can read characters from a file. Now we will see how we can read strings. So there is a function called fgets, like the getS function, but we will use it on a specific file, okay? The getS function by default works on the standard input, right? It reads from the keyboard. We will use this fgets to specify from which file or from which stream we want to read. So the fgets function returns a string, okay? It returns a pointer to a character, and it also takes as a first argument a string. Let's call it s, for example, okay? Then it takes an integer, and this integer is related to how many characters we want to read. And then it takes a pointer to a file from which we want to read a string, okay? So fgets will read n-1 characters. So if we put 10 over here, we will read n-1 characters from the file, and the nth character will be the \0. And the fgets function automatically adds the \0 whenever it finishes reading the n-1 characters. Now let's suppose we are reading something from the file. Fgets will stop reading after we get to a new line inside the file and focus on this after. This means that we will read the new line, let's suppose it's a \n character, and then we will stop. So the \n will be a part of the string that we read. Now suppose that we reach the EOF. Then we will stop at the EOF. So this means that the EOF will not be read with the string that we are reading, okay? Don't worry, we will see many examples in a little bit. Now, let's suppose that fgets read the string, okay? So this string will be stored inside this string that we pass as a parameter, okay? And also this string will be returned by this function. Now look over here. As I said, the \0 is added automatically, and it is put or written immediately after the last character that we read into the array s, okay? And as I said, the function returns s if it is successful. Now, if we reach the EOF and no characters have been read into the array s, look what will happen. The contents of the array will not change, and a null pointer is returned, okay? So suppose that there is an error while we are reading the string. Then the array contents are indeterminate, so we will not know what the array s will contain, okay? And also a null pointer is going to be returned. So now let's try everything that we saw. First of all, I'm opening this file over here in reading mode, and if the file is opened, I'm going to print opened, and if not, I will print open error. Now here is our directory. Open the file. We have these characters inside it, okay? Now back in code blocks, let's do the following. We need a string to store the string that we read using fgets, right? So let's make a string called s, and suppose that each line inside the file is maximum 50 characters. So over here I will allocate 51 characters, and the last one is for the \0. And let's initialize all the characters to \0, okay? Now when we use the fgets, the string that we read will be stored in this string, okay? So let's use fgets. I'm going to say fgets, I want to store the string inside s, this string over here. I want to read 51 characters, so this actually will read 50 characters and will automatically put the \0 over here, okay? And finally, this string I want to read it from my file that the pointer f is pointing to, okay? Now let's put the string s over here. Build and run. First of all, the file is opened successfully, and we can see this string over here. So let's see what happened exactly. fgets starts reading this string, and after the O we have the EOF, right? So when we reach the EOF, fgets will stop, and we will not read the EOF to the string. So the string that we read is this one over here, and this one will be stored inside this string, and when we print it we can see hello. Now let me do the following. Printf %d, and I want to print the strlen of s. So up here, let's include string.h. Now let me close the program and build and run. So what I want to show you is that over here we have 5 characters, and strlen gives 5. So I'm showing you that the EOF was not put inside the string, okay? Perfect. Now let's suppose that we have this string over here, okay? Save the file, exit, and over here let's say I want to read maximum 6 characters. So what will happen? We will read 5 characters, and then we will put the \0, right? Okay, so build and run, and as you can see, we have 5 characters and then we put the \0. Perfect. So I just wanted to show you what this integer over here does. So we read only the first 5 characters and the rest of the characters we don't care about them. Let's go back. Let's for example change this to 51, build and run, and as you can see now we read all the string, and whenever we reach the end of file we stop and put the \0. Perfect. So we finished these over here. Now let's see that fgets returns s. For example, instead of printing s over here, let's print the call to the function. Okay, so over here I will call the function and I'm giving the result to put s. So build and run, and as you can see we get the same result. So fgets reads the string, it puts it inside s, and then returns s, which is the pointer. Okay, then put s takes the pointer and prints the string. So we have the same result. Okay, now let's try this. We want to reach the EOF without adding any characters to the array. Okay, so what we want to do, remove all the characters. So now the first character will be the end of file. So save the file and close it. And for example, suppose the string contains this 1, 2, 3. Okay, so fgets will try to read a string, and the first character is the EOF, right? So it will stop and it will not read this EOF, right? So what do you have over here? The contents of the array will remain unchanged. So we should still have 1, 2, 3 inside the array, and a null pointer is returned. So over here, let's print the array s, and also let's printf a condition, which is that the call to the function is equal to null. So we will see if actually null is returned. Okay, so build and run. Oops, over here let me put \n. Okay, build and run. Okay, the file is opened perfectly, and first of all fgets returned null. Perfect, this is true. And then our string s was not changed, we still have 1, 2, 3, and the length is 3 characters. Perfect. So these over here are done. Now for example, let's add some characters. So over here let's put hello, save the file, go back to code blocks. Now build and run again. As you can see, the previous content is replaced by this string. We don't have 1, 2, 3 anymore, and fgets returns s, it doesn't return null, and we have 5 characters. Okay, perfect. Now let's see this over here. We want to see when an error occurs, what happens. So basically I will make an error over here. I will put a name that does not exist in reading mode, and over here we are trying to read a string from this file. Alright, build and run. First of all, as you can see, fgets returned null. This is this point over here. Whenever a read error occurs, we will return null. Perfect. And when we print s, it is still the same. And this is because this function didn't do anything. Initially, we weren't able to open the file. Now suppose that we were able to open the file, and while we were reading, something happened and made an error. So at that point, we will not know what the string s contains. Okay? Perfect. This is fgets. Now let's see when we have \n. Alright, so go to the file, and over here get to a new line, save the file. So now after all we have \n, and at the start of this sentence we have EOF. Okay, so we are reading the string and printing it, so I don't need this anymore. Let me over here put as the return value of calling the function, remove this, and over here of course we want to open the file data.txt. Build and run. The file is opened and we see hello, and as you can see we got to a new line, and strlen gives us 6 characters. \n is read to the array, so we stop after the new line. So over here, suppose I have some characters. So now I have characters over here after the \n, and the EOF is after the letter f. Okay, so go back, build and run, and look, we still see the same result. We only read until the \n. Alright, perfect. Now I want to show you something important. Let me go over here. We know that this character is at position 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the \n is at position 5, right? So what I want you to know is this character over here is not at position 6, it is at position 7, and this is because we are getting to a new line. So I want you to suppose this: whenever we go to a new line, we increase the FPI. So over here the FPI is 4, then we have the \n, so the FPI is 5, then we add 1 to get to the new line, so the FPI is 6, and then let's say we want to get this character, so the FBI will be at position 7. Alright, so let me show you. After reading 6 characters, I want to print f a long integer, and this integer will be the ftel of f. So this over here will give me the current position of the file position indicator. Let me remove this printf. Now build and run. So as you can see, we have 7. So what happened is the following. Let me open the file. We read the first 6 characters, hello and the \n. Then the file position indicator will move to the first character in the second line. And we know that the index of this character is the index of the \n plus 2. So the index of the \n is 5 because it is the 6th character over here. And then add 2, so we get 7. So this character over here is at position 7. And let me prove that to you. Over here, let's print the following. I want to print a character, and let me put a space over here. And this character will be fgets of f. So I will get the character that is the FBI is at, right? So let me close this, build and run, and have a look. The character that the FBI is at is character A. And this character is the first character in the second line. And it has position equal 7. Okay? Now, let's do this. Over here, let's also get a string and print it. So close this and build and run. So as you can see, first of all, we read the first string and we moved the file position indicator to point to the first letter in the second sentence. So at this character. So now whenever we read a string, we will read 50 characters, right? And we will keep reading until we reach a \n or EOF. So we read all these characters, and now over here we reach EOF. So we stop and we put the \0 over here. And now the file position indicator is pointing at the EOF. So let me show you this. Printf, I want to print a condition, and this condition is fgets of f is equal to EOF. So I'm getting the current character and testing if it is equal to EOF. So build and run. Perfect, it is equal. So let's add one thing over here and moves the file position indicator to the next character after the string. Okay, so both fgets and fgets move the file position indicator when we read something from the file. Now you might be asking why I suppose that a line is maximum 50 characters over here. Let's for example suppose it is 10 characters, so we allocate 11 characters, right? And initialize everything to \0. Now if the user wants all the sentences from the file, so over here we want to read 10 characters, right? So we have to put 11 because we will read 11 minus 1, which is 10. So let's over here also read 11 characters. So 10 characters and 1 character for the \0. But as you know, each sentence ends with a \n. And over here we will not read the \n because each sentence is 10 characters and we are stopping. We are not reading the \n. So let me remove this, and over here printf, for example, something like this. Now let me show you the file. Over here I put 2 sentences, each has 10 characters. Okay, build and run. First of all, we read 10 characters and put the \0. Okay, now the file position indicator is pointing to the first character after the string that we read, and in this case the character is the \n over here. So when this fgets is executed, we will start reading from the \n. So we will read the \n, and as you know, we stop after reading the \n. So this fgets over here reads a \n and stores it inside s and then stops. So whenever we print it, we get to a new line. So let me show you. Over here we print this and then put s gets us to a new line, right? So we get to this line, the second line. Then we are printing this string. So this string is a \n. So we get to the new line. And also fput s will get us to a new line. So we get to this line over here, and then this printf is executed. So we have this over here. Now let's for example read another string. Build and run. Look what happens. We read the \n, and then the file position indicator is pointing to the first character after the \n. So it is the first character in the second line. So we read this string. So fput s will get us to a new line. So we got over here and print this printf. Okay, so in order to be able to read one sentence at a time, we have to read the \n. So over here let's put 12 characters, and over here we want to read 11 characters. So 11 characters including the \n and one more for the \0. Now build and run. Now look what happened. This is the first string, it is with the \n. This is the second string and there is no \n, there is EOF, so we do not read it. Gets us to a new line, so we print this. Okay? So now you are asking what happened with this fgets, right? So whenever we read the second string, the file position indicator will be pointing to EOF, right? So whenever this fgets tries to read a string, it will start from the character that the FPI is at, which is EOF. So it will return a null pointer, so this put s will not print anything. So this is why we see this over here. Okay? So to make sure that we read a complete sentence including the \n, we suppose a big number over here. Normally, we suppose that a line is 255 or 256 characters maximum. But in our case, I suppose it is 51. So 50 characters with the \n and one more for the \0. And when you put a big number over here, for example 51, we will read 50 characters including the \n and we will put the \0, right? So this is how we read a complete sentence. Now let me get this and I'm going to show you this. So remove this and put while and put the fgets, and in here I will print f a string which is s. Okay, so each time I will get a sentence, a complete sentence, and put it inside s and print it. And whenever I can't get any more sentences, so I reach the EOF, this function will return null, right? So this condition will be false and will exit. So basically this loop prints all the sentences. So build and run and have a look. So great job. This is it for this video. I'm sorry it was long, but I wanted to give you everything you need to know about fgets. So I'm really proud of you and I'll see you in the next video.